What is going on, Pats Nation? It's your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global. Appreciate you guys for clicking on today's video to hear me talk about some Patriots news. And I know we're not officially to the offseason yet. We got one more week, week 18 at home against the Buffalo Bills. But after we just got spanked 40-7 against the Chargers at home, I am officially in off-season mode. And today, I want to start the off-season kind of process by talking about the free agents that the Patriots have in-house that are pending free agents. They'll hit the open market in March in just a couple of short months. So without further ado, let's hop into today's video. Now, guys, luckily enough for the Patriots, they did a lot of this work last offseason, so there's really not a whole lot that the team is going to have to do. One thing we do know is that the Patriots, they are expected. Now, you never actually know until the offseason fully starts, but they are expected to lead the NFL in cap space. Get this. $130 million, roughly $130 million for the team to spend in cap space this free agency. Today's video brought to you, by the way, by BetUS. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later how you can get an exclusive deal from them. But without further ado, let's just hop right into this list. So first off here, in fact, let's switch this up. There we go. First off here, you got Jonathan Jones. Now, he is going to be an unrestricted free agent. This is arguably the biggest name that the Patriots have left. And I've heard Patriots fans going back and forth. I heard Patriots fans saying after that almost win 2 weeks ago against the Buffalo Bills that, oh my gosh, the Patriots, they got to bring back Jonathan Jones. He's just so good. And then this past week, he allows almost 3 touchdowns to Ladd McConkey. He allows 2. It would have been 3 if Justin Herbert didn't overthrow him that one pass wide open in the end zone. Ladd McConkey absolutely cooked him this past week, but the week prior against Khalil Shakir with the Buffalo Bills, he allowed 1 catch in which he forced a fumble on. And that's kind of just been the name of the game all season for Jonathan Jones. It's just wildly inconsistent. One thing we do know about him, though, is that he's taken a step back. You know, I love Jonathan Jones. He's homegrown. He was an undrafted free agent by the Patriots who won multiple Super Bowls with them. He is one of their only links left back to the Tom Brady era, to the Belichick era, to the good old days of the New England Patriots. No duh, we want to keep him around. But he's 32 years old. He is not going to be a part of this team when they start contending. And to be completely honest, looking at his injury history, this is a guy that you just can't really rely on. It's hard to see him playing for any other team other than the New England Patriots. But if he does come back, I'm not giving him much. He's 32. Cornerbacks don't play far into their 30s anyway. I don't think he's going to have much of a market just because, one, he's 5'10". Again, he's 32 years old, has an injury history, and there are much better cornerbacks who are younger that are also expected to hit free agency. So that's going to bring down his market a bit. Now, currently, he is making roughly about $9.5 million per year. If he wants to come back, I'm not offering him more than $5 million per year. That's just me. Take it or leave it. If you want to go sign with another team, that's up to you. But quite honestly, in a perfect world, I think Jonathan Jones retires. He retires a New England Patriot, a true member of the New England Patriots, never played with any other team, and that we can all go our separate happy ways and the Patriots can look elsewhere to start adding to corner. If he does come back, he's somebody that I wouldn't use as a full-time cornerback. I would use him situationally. I'd put him in the rotation at slot. And other than that, I'd ask him to play free safety, a guy with a lot of knowledge, a guy that's played football for several years, allow him to play everything that's in front of him to kind of limit everything that he has to do. So that's kind of where I see Jonathan Jones. Next up here is Jacoby Brissett. He's also an unrestricted free agent, 33 years old. He was essentially just brought in to kind of be that mentor, veteran, bridge quarterback for Drake May. If Jacoby Brissett doesn't get any other offers, I would bring him back. again, the Patriots have $130 million. I'd be like, Jacoby, I will give you $6 million. I'll give you $6 million on the year. If you come back, you ride the bench. Having a very good backup quarterback is just as important as having your starting franchise generational quarterback, because we've seen Drake May at times, even in his rookie season, go down, have some injury problems, have some injury scares. And for the type of quarterback that Drake May is, who wants to run and wants to be physical, having a good backup option is nothing to be weary about. Not to mention the fact that the second year for a young quarterback is arguably the biggest and most important year for that guy's development. We saw that with Mac Jones after year one, Belichick gave him a different offensive coordinator. Belichick got rid of Brian Hoyer, that veteran mentor quarterback. I think having another guy like Jacoby Brissett, who can kind of be that go-to piece when Drake May needs, even in year two, is still very important. Now, obviously, Jacoby might be offered a starting role somewhere else. He might be offered a role back with the Browns. Who knows? Maybe he'll be offered a role with the Raiders to be their bridge guy. Maybe the Titans to be their bridge guy. And I think Jacoby will rather go somewhere where he can play rather than kind of valuing money. So again, low end, if he wants to come back for $6 million, I would give him that. But moving on here to Deatrich Wise, this is another bit of a controversial one. A guy that is very, very, very good for the locker room. Another homegrown talent for the Patriots. We know that they want to take care of their own, but we also know that they want to get younger. The Patriots aren't really signing. Elliott Wolf is not really signing guys that are past their prime, guys that are not going to be a part of this organization when they start contending, when they get back into the playoffs, they start contending for another Super Bowl. And with Deatrich Wise being 31 years of age already, they might say, you got maybe 2 years left in you. You're already a situational player for us. Unless you're going to take $5 million a year, $4 million a year, we're really not all that interested in bringing you back. We want younger guys who can be, 3 down edge rushers, and that's just not what you are. Me personally, I would love to see Deatrich Wise back. Why? Because I don't want to see the Patriots get too young. I think that there is a kind of thing going on in this locker room and off the field that nobody's talking about. And that's the fact that we've had a lot of guys act up in the locker room and to the media this year. All of the guys that have been acting out are either first or second year players. That's why you need guys, veteran guys in the locker room, like maybe a Jonathan Jones, maybe Jacoby Brissett, maybe a Deatrich Wise, who can set the tone, set good vibes, and be true leaders to help prevent things like that from happening. Because if you are just strictly young players who are in their first, second, third years, and no true veteran players for those young guys to latch onto, it's hard to truly build that identity. It's hard for these young guys to come into the NFL and say, these are the expectations, and this is someone that I can go to if I'm worried or if I'm questioning something. Deatrich Wise can still be that guy. Like I said, I'm not offering him much, but it's more so as depth, rotationally, more so what he can do off the field and in the locker room, the tones, the vibes he's going to set. So I would give him somewhere between a 1 to 2 year deal, probably just a 1 year deal though. And then I would give him about somewhere between $4 to $5 million. If he thinks he can go get more somewhere else, if he wants to get more somewhere else, go right ahead. Deatrich Wise is someone who can get to the quarterback. He can stop the run. He plays inside. He plays outside. He's versatile, but he's very inconsistent. He'll have a good 3-week stretch and then be gone for 6 weeks and then show up 1 week and then be gone for the rest of the season. Patriots need more consistency. You see Chuks Okorafor, I think that's just a typo. Obviously, he is on the retired list. That guy doesn't matter. Austin Hooper, he's an unrestricted free agent, 31 years old, only making about $3 million with the Patriots this year. Bring him back. Bring him back. I do not know the last time that the Patriots have had a backup tight end be this productive, be this good. He's tied for the most touchdowns currently on the Patriots. It's not even Hunter Henry. The tight end duo between Henry and Hooper has been really the most consistent and reliable piece, not just to the offense, but to this team this entire year. And the Patriots in the past, they've wanted to have those good 2 tight end sets. They've rarely had it. Henry and Jonnu Smith really didn't work out. I mean, this duo between Hooper and Hunter Henry is probably the best since Gronk and Martellus Bennett. And we know that Drake May loves those big body targets. We know that he loves to operate inside of the numbers. We also know that Hunter Henry's a little bit injury prone. This also goes back to what I've been saying all video and just having veterans. If you have too many young guys on the field, you start to have this issue where not always are guys lined up where they're supposed to be, where they need to be. Guys aren't always reliable. But when you have somebody who's been in the league for as long as Austin Hooper has, he's where he's supposed to be, runs his routes correctly, has that knowledge on the field to help a young quarterback. And I think that's so valuable. And I think that's why we're seeing this two tight end core between Hooper and Henry succeed so well, is because these are two poised veterans. So I would bring him back. I would draft another tight end in this draft, a very good draft class, and then give Austin Hooper a one-year deal. And then by 2026, hopefully that young guy is ready to take over behind Hunter Henry, and you can start molding that guy to ultimately be the future. Now, Daniel Ngakoue is up here next. He's an unrestricted free agent, 31 years old, only making about $2 million. From what I'm hearing, this is a guy that can have a little bit more of a market this offseason. Why? Because he is a pass rusher, and those pass rushing interior defensive linemen hold such value. And that's something that nobody talks about, right? When you're able to have an interior D lineman that can get to the quarterback from the interior, it's very different than having edge rushers who can collapse the pocket, but the quarterback can stand tall. He can step up into the pocket and still deliver a throw. When an interior defensive lineman gets to the quarterback, it throws off the complete rhythm of the quarterback. He can't step up anywhere. He's forced to either take a sack, forced to make a throw, or forced to dance around in the pocket and try to make magic happen. For me, though, looking at the age, Daniel Ngakoue, he's not going to be here when the Patriots start contending. Also, that interior, the Patriots have to upgrade at. You know, Devon Godchaux this past year, I think he's better than last year. He's taken on more of a mentor role, but he is playing a notch above where realistically he should be. You hope that you get Christian Barmore back, but you're not even positive about him. For me, I think the Patriots need to upgrade. They need an upgrade from Daniel Ngakoue, and the draft is where I would look to do that. We know they tried to do it this offseason with Armon Watts. That didn't work out. That's really the only reason that I think Daniel Ngakoue is here. I think the Patriots, again, want to get a younger guy, somebody who's a little bit more productive, a little bit more reliable in case Christian Barmore does not come back himself. So I think that this is a year where they move on from Daniel Ngakoue. Maybe they re-sign him. Maybe he's a guy that they have in like training camp and whatnot, but doesn't make the final 53-man roster. But nonetheless, this is a guy that I think ultimately for 2025 will be with a different team. Now, moving on here, Jichael Hasty. He's an unrestricted free agent, 29 years old. Forgot that he was on this roster. I looked at this a couple days ago, and I said, Jichael Hasty, that guy's still on the roster? I haven't seen him in weeks. Like, this was a guy that we wanted to see more of in the beginning of the season, and then they just completely stopped using him. It truly just became the Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson show, which I totally get, but Jichael Hasty is not a bad running back 3. Ultimately, I think it's very, very clear what the Patriots think of Jichael Hasty. I think if he's someone they can get back on the practice squad, then you would do it. I think they would love to have Jichael Hasty back on the practice squad. Great change of great change of pace back. A very good, fast, elusive running back. Helps you not just as a running back in the running game, but also helps you as a pass catching back in the backfield. So if they want to put him on the practice squad, okay. But I don't think this is a guy they're eager to get back. I could see them drafting a running back and just moving on from both Jichael Hasty and Kevin Harris. Moving on, though, Jaylen Hawkins, safety, unrestricted free agent, 28 years old. He signed only about a $1.2 million deal with the Patriots this offseason, so I think they can get him back for very cheap if they choose to do so. You have 90 men on the roster in the offseason. You never know what's going to happen. I wouldn't be upset with bringing him back, but I do think that's somewhere they need to upgrade. You know, maybe Marte Mapu becomes that full-time free safety. But even this season, we've seen when they have Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar both healthy, they play both of those guys. They make Mapu a healthy scratch and then make Jaylen Hawkins their starting free safety. So if they're going to do that, if they don't view Mapu as a true starting free safety, then go out there and get someone else. go to free agency, go to the draft, get yourself a true free safety and upgrade in that area that Devin McCourty locked down for so long. Hawkins hasn't been bad. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been anything special. He's not someone that is the future at free safety. He's 28 years old too, like I mentioned. So he's probably not going to be a part of this team when you truly start contending anyway. So for me, I'm more so moving on from Jaylen Hawkins. Joey Sly. Now, this is an interesting one because Joey Sly is a guy that you brought in over Chad Ryland. You moved on from Chad Ryland because you ideally wanted to go with a guy that was a little bit more consistent, didn't necessarily have as big of a leg, has a good leg, but, you saw a little bit more consistency from Joey Sly. Joey Sly going into the season looked good and then quickly fell off. He's had really good moments, but it's the same inconsistencies that we saw from Chad Ryland that essentially put Chad Ryland out of a job here in New England. I would bring Joey Sly back for the offseason. I would make this a competition. Just like we saw Joey Sly and Chad Ryland last year, just like we saw Chad Ryland and Nick Folk. I would do that exact same thing yet again, because the best way to get the best out of your players is to have a competition. We've heard Belichick say that. We've heard players say that. We've heard Mayo say that. And I think Joey Sly needs to be pushed a little bit. He's 29, so he still has a few years left in the NFL if he really wants to. I think we see that he has a big enough leg. All of his misses have come inside the 40. So his problem isn't that he doesn't have a big leg. His problem is just the consistency. It's just the consistent accuracy. Let's keep in mind, early on in the season, he attempted what was it, like a 64, 65-yard field goal? Almost made it. He was like a few feet away from making the longest kick ever in NFL history. Not just outside, but in general. And that's also the longest we've ever seen attempted outside. And again, almost made it and set a record. So has a big leg, but you, of course, have to go with the guy that has a little bit more consistency. I would draft a guy later on in this draft class and see which guys, is ultimately better by the end of it. But that is yet again, a battle that I would like to see this offseason. Moving on here, though, to Yannick Ngakoue, unrestricted free agent, 30 years old. I'm moving on. He has not been what I thought we all hoped. Since he joined the Patriots, he hasn't gotten a single sack. Since he joined the Patriots, he hasn't opened up the defensive line. And when he signed with the Patriots, they claimed him off of waivers. I told you guys that, this might not be a guy that ultimately gets a bunch of sacks to end the year, but even if he can get 4 or 5, he's a guy that maybe can be a rotational piece for the next couple of years. Even if he comes in and opens up somebody like Keion White on the other side, put him in more favorable matchups, I consider the signing a dub. And he hasn't done that. He hasn't applied pressure, hasn't had a sack, really hasn't made plays, hasn't opened anybody up. And I think at this point, we just have to kind of accept what Yannick Ngakoue is in the NFL. He's a rotational, situational pass rusher, a guy that at this point is more of a practice squatter, and you call up any given week if you have injuries. That's what he is in the NFL. He's not the future for the Patriots at edge, and they can 100% upgrade over what they have. So me personally, not bringing him back. There's going to be guys on the open market I'd rather have. In fact, I'd rather have O'Shane Ximines back over to Yannick Ngakoue. Speaking, though, of O'Shane Ximines, me personally, not bringing him back. He's coming off of a torn ACL. It was an ACL or Achilles, but nonetheless, he's coming off of a season-ending injury, 29 years old. He only made about $1.1 million with the Patriots this year, but I think the reason the Patriots didn't go out and try to get somebody with more talent, somebody with more substance for depth on the edge, was because they said, yes, we have cap space. We're not going to be good, though. Nobody really cares to play here anyway. So we're just going to get a guy for a 1-year rental before we can go out in 2025 and actually get talent. So me personally, I just don't see O'Shane Ximines back. Before we continue on with today's video, though, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Right now, when you guys sign up on their website, on their mobile app, and you use the promo code when you sign up that you see on the screen, YouTube150. That is YouTube150. You will lock yourselves into a limited time exclusive offer of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. That is a deal on your first 3 deposits when you sign up right now. And guys, I've said it in the past. I'll say it again. I get it. It's the final week of Patriots football. You just got blown out 40-7. You probably don't want to bet on anything involving New England. But you know what? We got NFL playoffs around the bend. We got the damn Super Bowl right around the bend. And the great part about BetUS is that they have the best betting variety in the business. So you don't just have to bet on NFL games with this deal. You can bet on NFL futures, college football, basketball, baseball, hockey, horse racing, fighting, politics, entertainment, you name it. And I promise you that BetUS is going to have it. Deal doesn't stop there because they also have a 200% crypto deposit bonus that they'll give you, 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year. And they're changing what it means to be an online sportsbook, doing something nobody else ever has by giving you your very own personalized account manager. On top of that, one of my favorite things with BetUS is their ability to bet on live games that are happening. So, guys, BetUS has everything. Play smart, play responsible, never bet more than you can afford to lose. But remember that supporting the sponsors supports me massively here at Patriots Global. Could not be doing this full time, giving you the best Patriots related content on this channel, on the AFC East Roundtable, hosting other shows. So, guys, make sure you go ahead and check them out. But moving on with the rest of this list, next up is Lester Cotton, the left guard that the Patriots picked up off of waivers, at least one of the guards that the Patriots picked up off of waivers this past season. I'm not bringing him back. Haven't really seen him. Hasn't done anything. He was just a guy that they brought as depth for the regular season because they just needed to get through the season. So not bringing him back. No reason for it. He is also a restricted free agent, just like the next guy we're going to talk about with Christian Ellis. He's also a restricted free agent. For those who don't exactly understand what that is, how it works, it's different from an unrestricted free agent. All the guys we've talked about so far, they've been unrestricted free agents. Those guys, as long as they don't get a contract extension done before free agency, they're welcome. When the new league year starts in March, they're welcome to go out there, talk to other teams, sign a contract with another team if they really want to. All the Patriots can do is offer them a contract, and that player essentially gets to just choose wherever they go. They don't have a say where that guy goes. A restricted free agent, I made sure that I wrote this down, so I said the right thing to you guys, but restricted free agents can sign with any team at the start of free agency, but their original team, in this case the Patriots, can apply one of 4 tenders to limit the market that they have. So basically, with restricted free agents and ERFAs, what the Patriots can do is they can place a first-round tender on them, a second-round tender on them, an original round tender on them, or a right of first refusal tender on them. And basically what that means, if that's placed on them, a team can still sign those guys, but if they do, they ultimately have to abide by the tender that was placed on those players. 9 out of 10 times when a tender is placed on a player, no matter if it's a first round, second round, original, or right of first refusal tender, when a tender is placed on those guys, like I said, 9 out of 10 times, the player is immediately back with their respective teams because nobody's looking to give anything up. As for Christian Ellis, I'm bringing him back. Is Ellis the future at linebacker in New England? No. But he has done really, really well in his second year with the Patriots. A waiver claim that they had late in the season, former Philadelphia Eagle, picked up by the Patriots again off of waivers during the 2023 season, and he has played a pivotal role. We know that he was really good on special teams. This offseason, in the preseason, in training camp, he was actually the best coverage linebacker that the Patriots had. But he was asked to play in a much larger capacity because you had linebackers going down left and right. Sione Takitaki, been dealing with an injury all year. He also didn't start the year. He started the year on injured reserve, or rather the PUP list. And then obviously you had Juwan Bentley go out during the season also. That thrusted Christian Ellis into a starting role. He's only 26 years old. You can give him a multi-year extension. He's going to be here when you start contending. He can be here for the next 4 or 5 years if you really want him to. But this doesn't change the need at linebacker. If you bring back Christian Ellis, you still need help at linebacker. The Patriots need that big, thumping, run-stopping linebacker. Your Juwan Bentleys, your Landon Roberts, your Dante Hightowers, those types of guys. That's not what Christian Ellis is. Christian Ellis is a rotational guy, a situational guy, kind of like Mack Wilson from last year. Someone who can do really well in coverage, rush the passer a little bit, lots of speed, sideline to sideline ability, but he's nothing special in stopping the run. He's not this big thumping linebacker that's hard to get through. But he does serve a role that I think the Patriots need. So I'm 100% bringing back Christian Ellis, who honestly, as the season progresses, just gets better and better. Now, next comes up Ben Brown. Ben Brown is an EFRA. He should be back as long as the Patriots decide that they want him back, and I will bring him back. I'm going to bring him back during the offseason. Keep him there in not free agency, but keep him there during OTAs, minicamp, training camp, preseason. You can never have enough good offensive linemen. The question is just going to be, how does Cole Strange play? David Andrews is expected to come back next year. I think he only has about 1 year left in him, but we know that the Patriots are grooming Cole Strange to try to be their future at center. And maybe it ends up being a competition. I mean, Ben Brown isn't young by any stretch of the imagination, but he's 27. So although he's not young, he's not old. He can play for you for another 4, maybe 5 years if you really want him to. And I don't know if he's a franchise center, but he came in mid-season with the Patriots and has looked really good. Now, he's had inconsistencies. He's had some bad moments, but he's looked really good for a guy that got picked up and asked to start in the middle of a season with a brand new team. What can he look like with an entire offseason? I would love to see that. I think what he's done has earned a lot of respect from the coaches, from the front office, from this fan base. So I think that Ben Brown deserves to be back, and I think that he will be back. Now, next up is Alex Austin. He's also an EFRA, 24 years old. I think the Patriots want to bring him back. They let go of Marco Wilson earlier on in the year when he wasn't performing all that well. I forget what team he's with right now. Is it the Saints? I want to say Marco Wilson's with the Saints now. Alex Austin gives you that outside perimeter corner that gives you height opposite of Christian Gonzalez. Is Alex Austin my cornerback 2 for next year? No. I like Alex Austin. I think that there's potential with Alex Austin. I don't think they necessarily did right by Alex Austin. Now, he did deal with some injuries throughout the season, which is part of why we didn't see him. But a lot of times you had Jonathan Jones or Marcus Jones starting as outside perimeter corner 2 instead of Alex Austin. You had Marco Wilson starting instead of Alex Austin. This was a guy that at the end of 2023 had so much potential, a guy we wanted to see thrusted into that role this year, wasn't really given a whole lot of opportunities. Over the last couple of weeks he has, but it's kind of the same situation as it was last year. I don't care about the last few weeks. What can you do for an entire season? If I don't see what you can do for an entire season, I'm not going to trust you when you have to play against the Bengals and you have to face, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I don't care when I have to play the Dolphins 2 times a year and we got to play Waddle and Tyreek Hill. When you play up against high echelon offenses with multiple good receivers, you need multiple good cornerbacks. And that has been an issue for the Patriots all year. Is that Gonzo's great, but other than Gonzo on the opposite side of him, you don't have a guy that is consistently able to lock down. So I would bring back Alex Austin as that rotational piece, as a depth piece, as cornerback 3, but I am not bringing him back to be my full-time starter at cornerback 2 outside of Christian Gonzalez. Now, Jeremiah Farms, I would bring him back. Jeremiah Farms is an EFRA. He's 29 years old. I give him a 1-year deal. I would go year to year with Jeremiah Farms, but he's another guy that knows this system. Like I said, since joining the Patriots 2 years ago, has gotten better and better. Originally was strictly a run-stuffing defensive tackle. Now has added to his repertoire being a pretty damn good pass rusher within that interior. And like I said earlier, I would move on from Daniel Ngakoue. How can you move on from someone like Daniel Ngakoue and feel comfortable? By adding some depth with a guy that still knows the system in Jeremiah Farms. I still think they need to upgrade at that position. I'm not saying he's a lock to make the final roster, but someone you take into the offseason, he's a little bit more of an insurance policy. And nonetheless, we've seen why you need depth in the trenches. You need depth on that defensive line. And Jeremiah Farms is a guy that I feel pretty good in my ability to trust. Now, lastly, you got your Quay Jackson. He had some good moments, with Drake May and the second team and third team offense, last offseason. I don't care to bring him back. If they want to bring him back just to see what he has, have an extra body for the offseason, okay, he's not making the final roster. Not much to say. And Demontre Jacobs. Demontre Jacobs, EFRA, he's 27 years old. I feel like a lot of people don't know who he is. I feel like he just came to the NFL. He's already 27 years old. I'm not bringing this guy back, okay? He's a former defensive lineman turned into offensive tackle. He is at best a practice squatter in the NFL, and we've seen that. Demontre Jacobs came in to start for the Patriots late in the year off of waivers, and he's been starting for them all year. I give him props. It's not an easy thing to do, but if Demontre Jacobs is even an option for this team, I am going to be scratching my eyes and ears out because I cannot see this dude in any way, shape, or form with any possibility start for the New England Patriots. I don't care if injuries happen. I cannot see this guy start for the Patriots again in 2025. But guys, that is going to be it. That is going to be the entire list that the Patriots have for pending free agents. All these guys still do not have contracts for the Patriots for 2025 and beyond. Now you guys know why I feel pretty good. And in case you don't, that reason is because they signed pretty much every single notable free agent. They signed Christian Barmore to an extension last year. They signed Brendan Schooler to an extension a few weeks ago. They signed Jelani Tavai, Ramondre Stevenson to contract extensions. These were all guys that were expected to be free agents this offseason, but they already got those deals done. Now, instead of worrying about those guys when the new league year starts, all they have to do is go into free agency, day one of the legal tampering period, not worrying about their guys and bringing their key guys back, but only worrying about making this team better. And I absolutely love that. But guys, this is where I kick it to you. Are there any guys that I said I wouldn't bring back that you would? And any guys that I said I would bring back that you wouldn't? Let me know in the comment section below. Another big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you guys sign up and use that code YouTube150 to get that exclusive deal from them. Leave a big like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But until next time, I appreciate you guys for watching, and go Pats.